Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 360 Shift podcast. And today we have an exciting guest, Ernest from Boy. He is a writer, a thespian, and an origami artist.
Yes.
What is that?
Which of the three?
And for me, I look at you as a writer,
yes,
a pastor probably,
yeah,
a theologian. I look at your articles, but I didn't know that you're also a thespian and an origami artist.
I was actually a thespian and an origami artist before I was a writer and a minister of the gospel.
Wow.
So a thespian, when I was in the university, I was at USIU, that's my alma mater.
Yes.
I participated in the drama team. It's called Michezo Africa.
Yes.
And I had never done theater before, but I remember one time, one of the directors, his name was Xavier Neto. He's now passed on. He was a very good friend of ours. Xavier Neto asked me to audition for a role.
Yeah.
And I was very averse to it because I kept thinking I've not done acting before, but I participated in it.
Yes.
And I got it. He told me, you're in. And I found it was the lead role.
Yeah.
And we went to Meru for the National Drama Festivals at the university level.
Yeah.
And we actually, our play won that award. We were the best play. And
tell me you're the main actor.
I was the lead.
Good stuff.
So that opened me up to a potential that I didn't know I had. And so since then, I began actively pursuing theater. So I did storytelling. Even for my wedding, before we got married, one of the ways we raise money for our wedding is that we put up a show at the Alliance Francaise, a storytelling show. So I love the world of theater, storytelling. That's very close to my heart.
Very interesting. So theater powered your wedding.
Yes. Exactly.
Powering your ministry.
Yes.
And
then origami.
Yes.
So origami is a Japanese art where you fold paper into beautiful shapes. One of the ways in which, for me, when in university I battled with a porn addiction. And I remembered.
So real. Like, right on it.
So I battled with a porn addiction.
Yes.
And I remembered as I was trying to get free, there was this philosophy that came to my heart that nature abhors a vacuum. So I was replacing the porn, but I needed to fill it with something else. And so I realized a lot of my time in the morning and in the evening was being taken up by entertainment. So I replaced entertainment time with a hobby. So I tried various things. I tried the guitar. I tried different things. Then I finally came to origami. And I just got onto YouTube, saw some tutorials. I started folding, and I was hooked. And I realized I was so good at it. And so I began folding. It took up my time. I began making money out of it.
Wow.
I displayed one day at the student center on Valentine's Day. These girls loved it. I made about 7,000 shillings on one day. I was like, ooh.
I'm sure they also wanted you, but
well,
but you have to resist.
and then afterwards, I remember much later, I even did an installation for the Tribe Hotel at Village Market.
Great.
So it opened me up. I did weddings, and even up to today, origami is my hobby.
So the hobby is actually commercial right now.
Yeah,
and
I mean, once in a while I make some, it's a side hustle.
You're really challenging me, and I once tried theater, and probably my hobby is working out. Maybe I can challenge you to a workout.
You look toned.
But before working out, I remember we were doing a lot of HIV awareness.
Yes.
Back in the day. And we had this famous poem that was called Mshale Nyama. And I remember you could stand over there and say Mshale Nyama, vita hivi ni vikali. And now for you to know what Mshale Nyama is, I mean, it's a riddle.
Yes.
The first verse was apitapo kipusa, mate ya kudondoka, bendera waipandisha, kama fisi akila mawele. Is it landing?
So poetic. I love it. I love it. I want to hear it.
And then we could move on to the last stanza. Tama natia hatima, funguo kashatupa. And you know that you're showing the zip. Mola tupe zako radhi, angalau mishala yetu ipate tulia.
Oh man. I love it. I feel like
art is actually very good at communicating.
It is.
And we are here to communicate about those tough things. Welcome to the podcast on boyhood and manhood. And we have a great guest here. You want to try some push-ups with me?
Oh, sure.
We do 10 good ones.
10 good ones. All right. Right here?
Right here. Let's
see. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see, you are saying we need to replace some of these pent-up energies as
Yes,
with something.
Yeah.
So origami, this, no, for me, this is what we do. Guys, let's see whether you can do it.
Okay. Form good?
Yeah, 10 good. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Hey, good one.
Good form. I love it.
Man, you're keeping fit.
Thank you, thank you.
Last time I checked on you, you also had, I broke my foot last time, just like you. I was in a boot.
Yes.
And you were also
we both had a boot. Yes.
And that's when you caught my attention.
Thank you, Ken. Asante.
Okay, so that was just to get to know our guest, and we want to delve into this serious conversation. And I shared with our guest about the Center for Social Justice report that is shedding a spotlight on how the boy child is lost, looking at education, looking at work, purpose, masculinity, marriage, pornography and addiction. And to kick off the discussion, we are aware that a third, or rather let me say this, men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide.
Yes.
And women are 3 times more likely to commit, or rather to attempt suicide compared to men.
Yes.
So the men are very good at committing suicide.
Yeah.
And the women
At attempting.
are good at attempting.
Yeah.
So what are the differences between men and women? Why are boys and young men so exposed to this suicide?
Yeah. So, I mean, suicide is a problem of the mind. So when you look at the mind, you find that the man who completes the attempted suicide, the one who goes ahead and does it, something has happened in the mind. There's a battle that has been lost.
Yes.
And it seems as if women are more adept at winning the battle of the mind than men are. And in as much as women are more predisposed to attempting it, it means that their levels of success, you could argue if perhaps women were not as more consistent in attempting suicide, you could argue and say, well, the women don't commit suicide because they don't attempt it more. But the fact that they attempt it more, but they don't do it at all, shows that there's a level of success that women have in the battle of the mind that men do not have. And if you look at it, I really think that men don't know how to, if I may use an acronym, men don't know how to listen. Okay? And I don't mean listen, but conversationally. Listen is an acronym, meaning men don't know how to deal with the following areas. When you're lonely, when you're idle, when you're stressed, when you're tired, when you're emotional, when you're nonchalant. All right? Listen. Okay? So if you look at the average woman, the average woman knows how to deal with loneliness, idleness, stress, fatigue, tired, emotions, nonchalance. How do women generally deal with that? Connections with other people. Connections with fellow human beings, conversations, talking things through, going for therapy. Okay? Asking for help, reaching out to their spiritual leaders, reaching out to their pastors, okay? Talking out with a friend, journaling, writing it down. There's an expression that women have in connecting with what's going on inside of them, and in doing that, it lowers the rate of suicide. But it seems, if you look at the average man, and I've helped men walk through porn addictions for the past 10 years. And I keep seeing that when men are lonely, they look for comfort. And often that comfort is a comfort that destroys themselves. And so what happens after you get the comfort, you find that the frustrations that you're facing are still up there. So you're lonely. For example, I know of a man who told me when he's lonely, he constantly looks for call girls or goes to prostitutes. When
you're using these apps, that's...
Exactly, the dating apps, you know? And you find that perhaps he's even in a committed relationship when he's idle, all right? What does he do when he's idle? He looks for something to do to keep him excited, to keep him entertained. And at times, the entertainment that he gets himself in ends up being detrimental to his overall health as a man. stressed, when he's fat, when he's feeling out of place, when there's a lot of cortisol in the body.
Yes.
You look for quick dopamine, because cortisol is stress, and the body wants to feel good, so the body looks for dopamine. And you find that we run for the quickest dopamine, and many times for the men it's something like pornography.
Yes.
All right.
Something visual. Someone told me that men's weakness is in the eyes.
Yeah.
And the women's weakness is in the ears.
Yeah, it's true.
Is it anecdotal, or do you think it actually is truth to that?
Anecdotal evidence suggests that it's true. But also, biblical truth suggests that it's true. Job says, and Job, this is the oldest book in the Bible, if you look at it chronologically, Job says in Job 31 verse 1, I have made a covenant with my eyes. Yeah. Not to look lustfully at a man, at a woman, sorry. Yes. So you can think about it. A man who lived in Job's time, that's an ancient civilization.
There was no smartphone.
But yet the problem of the eyes was as real. When Christ talks about committing adultery at the heart level, what does he liken it to? He says, if you look at a woman with lust, and many times, and why didn't Christ say if you look at a man? Isn't that women can't lust? Of course, women can also lust.
Very interesting.
But men are the ones who are predisposed to lust with the eyes.
Yes.
And when it comes to the ears, think about it. How many times does the book of Proverbs warn a man concerning his speech and concerning the counsel that he hears, compared to how many times it warns a woman? Women are more warned concerning how to use their lungs, how to use their tongues, how to use their mother. And is it that men can't commit those sins? They can. But you find that women are more predisposed to it. All right? When you think about it, women are most followers of cults. Are women.
Again, there's this famous quote, there are 3 people who you cannot change their minds. I don't know how to do that.
One of them being a woman and a prophet. You can't tell anything.
And a man with a lot of money. They can't all just hear.
So lonely, idle, stressed, tired. What do men do when they're tired? Do we rest? Do we take time to relax our bodies, or do we just go into this whole idea of I need to make more money? We burn out. When you look at the number of people who die because of burnout, most of them are men. Okay, and then when we're emotional, I read just a dialogue on social media the other day where someone said, "Tell us something about men and women that people would not agree with, but you think it's true." And this lady said, "It is often said that women are the emotional gender, but in truth." Men are the emotional gender,
but we hide our emotions.
Exactly.
So, segue to the next conversation. And you were very bold to just say you were delivered from porn immediately. But men take so long to just come out and say some of these truths. So now, looking at the root causes of why men behave the way they do, and looking at the Center for Social Justice report, where they say that men are increasingly not interested, and young men to be in particular, are not interested in education, they're not interested in employment, not interested in training. So NEET. So the study, the research says that after COVID, there was an increase of 40% of men between 16 and 24 not interested in advancing their lives. And now the impact on that on economies is crazy. Of course, the CEO, Center for Social Justice, Andy Cook, was giving the state of the nation for UK.
The UK, Britain,
But I think he was doing it for the whole world. So what do you think is the root cause for when men are nonchalant, men are, attacked when they're idle, yet they do not want to commit to vocation, education, employment? What's your take?
So, and I like that study, one of the things that was mentioned in that study, that in 2023, the most Googled name by boys in the UK was Andrew Tate.
Spot on. Actually, on the executive summary, that's
on the Andrew Tate. And who is Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate is a figure of masculine superiority, masculine success. All right. And in that in that search for Andrew Tate as the man who was most searched by men during that time, and this is just 3 years post-COVID, so this is not far from the COVID period you're talking about. I think therein lies the answer. The answer is that men are looking for purpose. Men are looking for meaning, and a meaning that deeply resonates and connects with them.
Yeah.
Men are looking for identity.
Yeah.
And I think what COVID did is that COVID shattered all forms of security. COVID shattered people's comfort. And COVID left people to really ask themselves, who are we?
Yeah.
Who are we?
Yeah.
Now, when I see men gravitating towards Andrew Tate,
Yes.
I noticed a few things about Andrew Tate.
Yes.
Okay, Andrew Tate embodies what I would call the default masculine identity that men run to.
Could you say that traditional model of who a man is?
And traditional, perhaps, I could use the word traditional, but the reason perhaps if I say traditional, most people may hear conservative, and not everything Andrew Tate stands for is conservative.
Yes.
Okay, some of the things he stands for would be conservative if you look at the political spectrum, but not everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I would just say the default. And what is that default masculine identity?
Yeah.
That default masculine identity is girls, gold, glory. Girls, gold, glory. 3 G's, okay? Where you feel like I am man enough when I've got the first G, girls, okay? I have the capacity to attain and retain female attention. When you look at what Andrew Tate advocates, when you look at what is very attractive about him, is that there are women around him.
Yeah.
In fact, he was known for a time having a bevy of women. He was even running a business where he was having many call girls, and they're all attracted to him. And there's this notion in men that if the women are attracted to me, then I am something. You know,
then I'm successful. We define that as success.
Exactly, we do.
Yes.
You look at the movies, what happens when the man saves the day? He gets the girl.
Yes.
The girl is waiting for him. They kiss at the sunset, you know?
Yes.
And it's almost as if it's ingrained to us that you get female attention as a reward for masculinity. So therefore, the more masculine you are, the more feminine attention you get.
Yes.
Therefore, the more you're winning in life. And so Andrew Tate embodies that.
Yeah.
So the first G, girls.
Yes.
And maybe I could say something small before I go to the next G.
Yeah.
In high school, when we'd go for a funky,
I remember.
One of the things, Ken, if you remember, if you really wanted to assert your masculinity, you come back having talked to a pretty girl.
Actually, in our school, you could be bullied.
Yeah.
If people saw you breezing, that was a word.
Breezer.
That guy's a breezer.
That guy's a breezer.
I remember one time someone drew me on the blackboard because I did not date a girl.
Yeah.
And from that day, I made it sure. Every time you go for a funky, I need to be seen walking around.
Yeah.
And also the kind of girl you're also dating. There was a very high standard.
Because you had to date a girl who is, by global standards, attractive.
Exactly.
You know, light skin, long hair, all these things that the world tells us how an ideal woman should look like, you know. And I remember in our school it was so bad that if you're talking to a girl who did not meet that ideal, guys would come around and they would just blow a whistle, and pull out a red card. And the girl didn't know what was going on, but when you came on the evening, basically you told, dude, you got a red card. You talk to a girl, but that girl know you're out of the game, But there's that idea that, who are you talking to? Which woman? When a woman walks into the room, do I have her attention? Is she drawn to me? And I remember in high school, striving so hard in a funky to please a girl who I didn't like, to impress friends. I did not even want to impress, just to look the part. To just attain this girl's identity. The next G, gold. You're told you are man enough when you've got money. You just think about it, Ken. When you owe another man money, all his jokes are funny.
Even when they're dry, you will laugh and laugh very loud.
You will laugh and you slap your knee and you go like, this guy, And there's this thing that makes a man feel inferior to another man who is more financially stable than he is. So you feel like, man, am I man enough? When a man walks in and he's the one who looks like he can pay the bill, we seem to default to him. We seem to turn to him. And so there's this thing inside of us that tells us the man with the most money is masculine because he's got means.
And actually, if you look at African setting, I've seen many families where you find the third born or fourth born has got more money than the first born. Their parents and the community default to that guy as the
leader.
As if he's
the first born.
And they ask for decisions from that person, forgetting the birthright is with the first one. So So the birthright depends on the money that you have. And so men see that and they feel like I can only have a voice when I speak. And you find that when men when men are in the presence of other men who've got money, they feel like
they have to apologize for their view.
Yes.
They have to hold back their view, you know, and that comes from that social engineering. And then the third one is glory, power. You know, you
power.
Power. To the power.
How you say it matters.
Power. Man, you feel like, you know, who are you? When we say your name, do people resonate? You know, when we say your name, do people associate you with, the guy who owns that building?
Yes.
The guy with influence? The funny guy?
Yes.
The guy who's got, the guy who can speak and everyone keeps quiet? Power. You know, you can move, you're a mover, you're a shaker. You can have influence, dominion. Now, men often assign the identity to these 3 G's. And they feel like, I need to have girls, I need to have gold, I need to have glory.
And that's our natural predisposition.
It's naturally,
that's what we want.
Yeah, and that is why, according to that report, Andrew Tate is the most searched. You look at Andrew Tate, he's got the girls, he's got the money,
he has the body,
he's got the power, he's got the body.
He's a kickboxer.
Yeah, look, that's power. That's power. You know, the influence on social media, that's power.
That's power.
You know, and so that's why many people want to be like him.
Yeah.
So the men are looking for an identity, but there's a problem with this identity. One, this identity is finite. What do I mean by that? Today the girls can have your attention. Tomorrow someone else can come and take that attention away from you. All right?
Or someone with more money can come and challenge you.
Someone with more money can come and challenge you. Or someone with more power. So that identity shifts. And so the problem with it is that if you adopt that as your identity as a man, you're constantly on defense mode. Where you're constantly trying to keep up. It's exhausting. And you realize you're never content.
And could that be the reason why men sort of disappear into a cave? And we want to reappear when you're driving that Range Rover. When you are in the weeds, in the mud, you want to be alone. We are sort of wired to be lone rangers. But when you've made it, you want to show up. But on the way to making it, you left all friends.
And so the danger is, and I mean, by all means, disappear, come back strong. But if that is your identity, if that is what your measure of masculinity is, when you come back and perhaps you're looking for that Mercedes C-Class, you know, maybe you're thinking, I'm going to get the 2025 version. Then you come and the 2026 version is out. And what happens when the 2026 version is out and your 2025 version is meh? For how long will you disappear? You can't keep disappearing. So that masculine identity is finite. Secondly, that masculine identity can be owned by a woman. A woman...
Unpack that.
A
woman can own it.
First of all, a woman who's very attractive, who you find very attractive, you know, you could do everything in your power, but she could not be attracted to you. So first of all, she will not give in to your desire to woo her. So first of all, that's gone. Secondly, you could find, in fact, it's the other way. In fact, her attraction is so consuming that you are the one who's been dragged along. She's not the one being dragged along. Secondly, she could have more money than you. Thirdly, she could have more power than you. So if that's your definition of masculinity, you're in trouble, because by all definitions and standards that you have, that woman is manlier than you.
If that is your definition of masculinity. And unfortunately, that's the most popular definition of masculinity.
So what happens if that's your definition of masculinity, and then you're living in a time where women are empowered, where women are more money than you, where your wife is earning more than you, when women are having more positions in parliament, more positions in politics, where women are rising, they've got all these things, there's empowerment. What happens to your masculinity? Even though you look up to a man like Andrew Tate, you go into crisis. You go into crisis because Andrew Tate is an outlier. Not everybody can be like Andrew Tate. Okay, there's certain circumstances in his life that have made him like he is. Not everybody can drive the cars he has. Not everybody can have the money he has. So you who's sitting right there, even if you do get what he has, you'll realize there could be another woman who's got more than you. And so you'll get into this crisis. You're thinking, oh my goodness, am I man enough? And then the depression kicks in.
So a quick question, Ernest.
Yes.
And I would like us to be honest with ourselves. Actually, your name is just very poetic. Ernest, can we be honest? How is it that men seem to be, are men losing power? Are men losing agency? Are women getting more power? Are women getting more agency when you talk about education, employment opportunities? What is causing that to happen?
Okay. So I would take a step back and say, especially for millennials, and perhaps the older Gen Zs, and the younger Gen X. Millennials are sandwiched right in between, okay?
Yes.
The younger Gen X, the older Gen Z.
We have the best of both worlds.
And then the millennials, all of them. There's, if you look at the way they were raised, men and women did not receive the exact same kind of treatment. Okay, generally speaking, and I beg to stereotype to make this point across, to bring this point across. Many millennials, or maybe those categories of people that I mentioned, like for example in our situation here in Kenya, and I know this is true because I had this conversation with an Ethiopian woman.
Yes.
And I asked her if this situation as I'm describing right now is true for her, and she said yes. I also had this conversation with a Rwandese man. He said it's true.
African lands.
And a Ghanaian.
Yes.
So I know that Ghana, West Africa, you know, most of East Africa. Perhaps I need to get some samples from Egypt, up north and down south. But when I saw this in 4 countries, I realized, wait. You mean we are going through the same thing? And this is the thing, that most of these groups of people that I mentioned saw their fathers growing up as a sole breadwinner.
So even me, my dad was earning more than my mom. Like by far. I don't know for you.
Yeah, it's the same.
Like for over 90% of millennials, that's the thing.
So dad was earning more. And
so dad had power.
In that had money. And then mom was a homemaker. And mom stayed at home.
Yes.
All right. And then if you listen to many stories in people in that generation, you realize that not all their marriages were healthy. So you find in some cases, those fathers abused the mothers. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, took advantage of them, and women felt subdued.
And they could not go nowhere because they have no money.
Where are you going? Unaenda happy. Where are you going? You know? And then in that generation, okay, the ability to keep your family together was treasured. And so your individual rights were trumped by the communal good. And so if you raised a family, you stayed together, and you could stand in front of an audience and say, we've been married for 35 years. Wow,
we applaud
35. You. What's the secret? So we measure the quality of that marriage based on its longevity. But it's not necessarily true that because you've been married for 35 years that you've had a good marriage. You could just have had an arduous marriage.
Quantity over quality.
Exactly.
Yes.
You could have just have had a long painstaking marriage where you stayed, and if you ask most of those mothers, we stayed because of the children. And so the children who grew up in those homes, they saw mom go through pain. Some of them, I remember talking to a lady last week who said, you know, so many times I told my mom, divorce dad and leave, be free. And the woman said, you don't understand. If I left, you guys would have suffered. And so the children witness that. They witness the pain, they witness the violence. So you've got girls and boys witnessing this. These boys see dad is powerful, he's driving, he's masculine, they want that. And so they grow up and they espouse that side of dad. And they espouse, and they may see the bad side of dad, but they'll pick the good. The men want to be men. The women grow up and they say to themselves, you know what? I will never be controlled by a man. I will never be hit by a man. I will never be dictated by a man. You know what? This is how I'll do it. And they're informed by their mothers. Get your own money. Have the freedom to live. And some of the mothers say, you know, if I had my own money, I would have left. So you've got a generation of girls who are growing up who are already on the defense. They are approaching life feeling like, I will not be tormented like my mom. In fact, some of them are saying, I can't wait to succeed so I can go back and liberate mom.
Could that be the reason why some ladies are delaying marriage?
Yes.
To 35,
it is.
40.
It is.
You wonder there are so many good men, so many good women, but what?
Now, those people you're saying good men, this is the thing. Because of the pain of dad, they grow up, and if this lady is dating this good man, and he sees anything remotely close to dad, she sees anything remotely close to that, she goes like, hey, I'm not dating my father again. So I'd rather have my independence, build my career, grow my money, and there's this idea that, and let me tell you, the good thing about the people I mentioned that category, the millennials, the older Gen Zs and the younger Gen X, that those people, they're still hopeful for marriage. They're still hopeful. You know, they know, because it's not true that they've seen all the marriages they've seen are bad. They've seen some good marriages, you know, and so they want that. And so there's this thing of, I'm waiting for this right person. I'm waiting for this right person. But you see, because you've not processed the pain, this right person that you're waiting for could be a unicorn. Because you don't understand that even for the good marriages, there was a process to it.
They didn't just arrive.
They didn't just arrive.
They have worked on each other.
And the idea of processing, going through the troubles, reminds them of the pain of their parents, and they don't want that. So what do you have? Children who have been brought up, and these girls are ready to liberate. They are being raised to liberate their mothers, liberate themselves, not go through that. What about the boys? The boys have no idea. And the boys are growing up thinking, the way it has been with mom and dad, it will be with me and my wife. The only thing that I will not do, I'll not beat my wife like dad. I'll be a good husband. I'll be a good wife. But you are thinking that the woman you're about to marry is exactly like your mom. She's not. She's growing up with an agenda.
Exactly.
She's growing up with an agenda to protect herself. And so, even before, despite your character transformation, despite you being different from dad, you're already marked as a potential enemy. Right? Now again, because it may look like we're blaming the women, let me even just show you how there's some negativity on the men's side. Okay? Think of how the women were raised. Okay? So by the time a girl is 10 years old, the kind of responsibility she's given in the house is
they should cook, they should wash, they should so much more. When the boy is not being given
the boy
a lot of work to do.
The boy at age 10 is having pissing contests with his friends. Who can pee the farthest? You know, that's the most exciting thing he's doing. Look at me, I can pee. That girl at age 10, at least in the African setup, is being taught how to cook, how to clean, how to take care of the house. Those are core life skills.
Core life skills.
You know, cooking is not a woman's skill. Cooking is a life skill.
Yes.
You can't live without food.
It is a life skill.
Yes, and when you need to eat, you have to cook. Do you need a woman to do that? No, you just need someone who can cook to do that, period. And so this woman is being given these life skills. And she can survive on her own if left by her own. That boy can only boil rice. And he may oversalt it. He may burn it. The egg may be overdone. Anyway, but you find that generally speaking, the women are being prepared. When she gets into 11, 12, and some of them even younger, the woman gets into her, she starts having her first menstrual cycle. And now she's told, hey, listen, now you're a woman. You need to understand, you can get pregnant. You need to understand, this will happen every month until menopause. All right? So this is a part of your femininity. You have to learn hygiene. You have to learn about your sexuality. You have to learn about certain times of the month. You have to learn about, the kind of clothes that you wear. You have to be conscious concerned. You must always have some pads in there because at times the flow can be disrupted by the weather, the places that you go. So she has to constantly think about how her reproductive organs work. A man at that age, a boy at that age, doesn't care really about how his reproductive organs work. Okay? Get to 14, 15, the girl begins to blossom looking like a young woman. So she's told, hey, now, I need you to be home. Mapema. Okay? Don't you out by 6 p.m. Women can get raped.
Hang on there. So you said they get these basic skills when they're very young. Could that be the reason why these girls are getting these corporate jobs? Because they've been taught project management in the household. They've been taught communication skills, emotional intelligence. When they're doing so many chores, when the boy is just out there playing, the society has already forced the girl to learn all these skills. And then they're supposed to compete with the boy in the marketplace.
Well, partly. And I think that preparation does affect the marketplace. But it's not just the marketplace, because there's more to life than the marketplace. There is relationships. There is life. There is society. So maybe let me just finish that trend. So you get to 15, the girl has to be cautious about her sexuality. Has to be cautious about when she's stepping out, the dress I'm wearing, is it too short? When I sit down, will it go up my thighs? I have to be careful. Does the boy care about what he dresses at that age? In fact, the only thing that happens at around that age, the boy is circumcised. And when he's circumcised, what is he told? Now you're a man. Don't get into the kitchen. You're a man. No kitchen work for you. So he associates responsibility or lack of responsibility to masculinity. And then now he gets into high school. When he's into high school, in some cultures, they even, now that he's been circumcised, they even build a small hut for him out there. He's told, now you're a man, live there by yourself. A 15-year-old boy by himself outside the home, he's not yet an adult. His prefrontal cortex has not yet developed. What do you think he'll be doing with his hormonal tendencies? He'll access pornography. He'll be excited. He'll bring a girl into that place. And so there's some sort of live the way you want, laissez-faire attitude with the boys. The girl is told, if you get pregnant, you drop out of school. It affects you. If that boy gets a girl pregnant, his education continues. If that girl gets pregnant, she has to abort if she's under a lot of pressure. And if she aborts, what does that? She's killed someone. What does that abortion do? It traumatizes her.
Yeah.
If she's told, if she decides to do the right thing, she keeps the baby, so she doesn't abort it. Okay? Yeah. If she keeps the baby, she has to be a mother. She has to be a mother. So she said, I will not end the life of that child. I will take care of it, which is the right thing to do. But guess what? It greatly inconveniences her life. Okay? If she goes the route of aborting the baby, she has to deal with the trauma of having taken life, because it is life. We may argue all it is, but it is life. What will that boy do? He'll run away from the responsibilities. By the time this girl is 18, right? She's now seen so much life. She's ready to deal with life. And even if she's done the right thing, she's not had sex outside of marriage. By the time she gets to 18, that girl goes to campus. She can handle living by herself. She's been told, be careful. This can happen to you. Dress well. When you get out, please understand. People can try different sorts of things. Watch out for your safety. Know how to cook, know how to clean, take care of your time.
A lot of pressure.
You've been balancing your education with your schoolwork and all that. So gets into campus, it's a breeze. This boy gets into university, and for the first time he's been told, manage your time. The best thing he's been doing is using his time to play video games. And when you try and heap responsibilities on him, perhaps even at times the mothers spoil the boy and go like, don't touch my boy. So you've got an 18-year-old who's vastly inexperienced, and you've got an 18-year-old girl who's vastly experienced. And these guys go through campus, and then they come out of campus. They are not the same. They are not the same. And unless that boy does something different, because in a sense, femininity will grow just because you're a woman and you live in this world. You'll be forced to adapt and do certain things. But masculinity must be a product of intentionality.
It does not come biologically.
Masculinity must be a product of intentionality. A man will only be a man if he decides to be a man.